The Fourth Great Ninja War in the world of Naruto saw a series of battles that forever changed the ninja world in major ways. What started out as a battle where the Shinobi Alliance believed they were fighting only Madara Uchiha and an army of white zetsu and potentially seven-tailed beasts under Madara's control, it ended up being a battle that also included Kabuto's Edo Tensei army, which just happened to have the real Madara Uchiha as its ace in the hole. The duo of Madara and Obito Uchiha, it proved to be so formidable that after the war, some of the Kages openly admitted that the duo were stronger than 99% of the Shinobi Alliance, with there only being less than a handful of exceptions to that rule. One of those exceptions was Sasuke Uchiha. As we all know, at the request of Naruto and the full-on political weight of the newly appointed 6th Hokage Kakashi Hatake, Sasuke was allowed to roam free under the condition that nothing he ever did violated the probation that's at the discretion of the Hokage, which remains in effect even in the Boruto era, because if he ever did, it would mean a sentence worse than life imprisonment. This of course led to Sasuke on his redemption journey to learn more about the ninja world, to atone for his sins, and to learn more about who he was and how deeply Zetsu's secret maneuvering changed the course of the ninja world and its history and paved the way for Kaguya to eventually be revived. However, sadly, most of this material was not adapted into the Naruto Shippuden anime, and one of the Sasuke stories, the Sasuke Shinden story of Sunrise, wasn't completely adapted, with some rather interesting chunks of the story that developed Sasuke's character into the man that we see in the Boruto era. And that's why in today's newest After Naruto Shippuden video, we're going to be taking a look at the mission that Sasuke undertook, an S-rank mission that was personally requested by Kakashi for Sasuke to go on, that would take him to the places like the Land of Water, where seeds of conflict that would sprout up 14 years later in the timeline in the form of Boruto's Funato clan war arc were already brewing, and in the Land of Lightning, where Sasuke would find himself revisiting the very country that he once infiltrated to capture the Eight Tails. This mission that Kakashi had sent Sasuke on would prove very pivotal towards Sasuke going down the path to finding out that there's a threat beyond Kaguya. For those of you guys who are new, After Naruto Shippuden is a series on the channel where we take a look at the story events and lore that occur in the Naruto timeline between Naruto chapter 699 and the start of the Boruto era, Naruto chapter 700, with much of this content never having been adapted into the Naruto Shippuden anime, hence the title After Naruto Shippuden. The information for this video is going to be coming to us in one of those stories that Shippuden never animated, which is the Sasuke story of Sunrise, which was incompletely animated in the anime itself. So you'll know this as the Exploding Human Saga, which this story is set towards the end of Sasuke's redemption journey, where unlike what the anime showed you, Naruto and Hinata, they're already married by this point in the timeline. In the scene we're going to be going over, Sasuke is roaming well past the borders of the Land of Fire, off in the boonies, having been lost in a very deep thought about the words of Tobirama Senju that he uttered about the Uchiha clan, in particular how their capacity to love is what drove so many of them into darkness and despair. And Sasuke's measuring himself against Tobirama's words. He finds himself wondering if in the 2 years since Naruto beat him into submission, if Sasuke has truly grown strong enough to be able to stand on his own 2 feet, if he were to lose Naruto or Sakura, and how he would react if there wasn't a Naruto Uzumaki to pull him out of the darkness should Sasuke fall into it again, with Sasuke implying it still troubled him and that he needed to figure out how much of this was because he was an Uchiha, someone cursed with the blood of his clan. He wondered if it was his destiny as an Uchiha to fall into that despair, and how much of this was the manipulation of Black Zetsu toying with this clan, shaping them from as far back as their ancestor Indra Otsutsuki into what they eventually became, or was this simply something that Sasuke, as the last full-blooded Uchiha, would have to always endure? It's at this point that Sasuke receives a message from Kakashi that puts him in a drastically different course than he had originally planned for himself, because at this point in the timeline, Sasuke was already starting to find signs that there was something bigger than Kaguya on its way to Earth, and that the ninja world as it was currently wouldn't be prepared for, particularly with how they initially dealt with the Toneri situation, where he was legitimately going to destroy the planet if Naruto hadn't stopped him. However, it would be as Sasuke starts on this mission that he eventually gets one of his biggest clues about a threat that is beyond Kaguya that would truly frighten him. With the scene and the context finally being set, we're gonna begin looking at the scene from the story itself by reading it, and then I'll come back to you guys with my thoughts. And it's here I'm gonna begin quoting. Sasuke quickly pulled out a scroll, and a bird flew towards it as it called. It was Sai's ninjutsu. The figure of the bird vanished, and in its place, text appeared on the open scroll. Thinking that he needed to have a more diverse view of the world in order to learn more about Kaguya, Sasuke had begun communicating with Kakashi more often, asking him to send information about the state of the village and events around the world, big or small. Every detail mattered to him. He turned his gaze to the words on the page, and his brow furrowed at the content he saw. It was a message from the current Hokage Kakashi Hatake. Apparently, a large number of shinobi from the Mist Village and the Cloud Village had suddenly disappeared. There was no sign of a fight or struggle, and the information, it was limited. Kakashi wanted Sasuke to visit each village and report if he found anything suspicious that might be related to the incident. More than 100 ninjas suddenly vanished. Sasuke asked. If it was a person behind it, it was possible they were a genjutsu user, in which case it would be best for Sasuke with his superior ocular dojutsu to respond. If he used his Sharingan, he would be able to see things that the ninja villages, those shinobi, wouldn't have been able to see. Sasuke climbed a tree to check its location. He looked around more than once with those eyes. Several clouds of white smoke puffed up into the air beyond the forest he was perched in. They weren't from fires. The smoke was from steam. He was close to a land of hot water, with his village possessing hot spring that welled out up from the earth. Once a shinobi village, it was now a hot spring resort. He looked past the direction of the village. He wasn't too far from the land of lightning. Based on his intel, ships always departed from there to the land of water. Maybe I'll head to the land of lightning first, Sasuke said. Given that he could reach it via a land route, Sasuke first set his sights on the land of lightning and dropped down onto the forest floor. End quote. Now, what should stand out here is that Sasuke, by this point in the timeline, is spooked enough about the threat stronger than Kaguya appearing that he's openly asking for any and all intel, big and small, be sent to him, even if it results in side quests such as this, because Sasuke wants to use the 2 Kekkei Genkai at his disposal to check for things that might have been overlooked, because as someone possessing both the Sharingan and the Rinnegan, he is the one who is best suited to find clues that nobody else would ever consider possible. What I also find interesting here is that you see Sasuke beginning to open up more of the lines of communication with Konoha, in particular Kakashi, because it's important to note that in this point in the timeline, Sasuke has a lot to lose and he's struggling with his demons. At this point in the story, Naruto and Hinata, they're already married, and Sasuke has already been back to Konoha, specifically back for Sakura, but Sasuke still isn't able to fully share with Kakashi why, despite him having made contact with Sakura more than once, that he won't come back to the village, and it's because of his fear regarding something stronger than Kaguya being out there. Despite the fact that both Naruto and Sasuke at this point in the timeline, they are now confirmed to be strong enough to rival Kaguya in power, which that is a huge increase from where they were at the end of their battle in the final valley. The fear of there being something strong enough that someone like Kaguya needs to build a zetsu army, it troubled Sasuke to no end. But ironically, it would lead to him going on missions like the one that Kakashi sent him on, that would begin earning the trust of the very Kage he once fought in the past. So indirectly, it would be furthering his redemption story. He'd find himself interacting with the Mizukage and her soon-to-be appointed successor Chojuro. He'd find himself interacting with the 4th Raikage and the soon-to-be named 5th Raikage. People who Sasuke once took up arms against, and one of which, even after the 4th Ninja War, wanted Sasuke's head for a time, would be given an opportunity to see that Sasuke had indeed changed and was becoming an asset that would be needed to maintain peace in the future. We'd be seeing the first signs of what we would learn is the case in the Boruto era via the events of the Shikamaru Shinden Morning Cloud story, which I've covered from start to finish here on the channel, on a playlist you can find on the homepage of the channel, where Sasuke's respect with the nations had grown to a point where he was being given complete free reign to move in and around ninja villages. No questions asked, so there was one Kage in particular who took some objection to Sasuke having free reign, because by that point in the timeline, this Sasuke, who took it upon himself to look for Otsutsuki clues on his own, he had now grown to a point where he learned the very lesson that Naruto had been trying to teach him in their battle at the final valley, which was that he needed to trust others when it comes to confronting your deepest fears. And Sasuke, by walking down this path currently, is beginning to learn that lesson. Now, Sasuke did have a right to have some suspicion here. In the Naruto world, being able to put over 100 people under a genjutsu simultaneously, it is insane in terms of power. You can't even count on one hand the number of people with that skill or power capable of doing something like this to this degree, and it's why Sasuke's radar immediately picked it up, because he was already super paranoid right now. The last time Sasuke saw genjutsu of this magnitude being pulled off was when Madara used the infinite Tsukiyomi. He knows that Shisui was going to use Koto Matsukami, but we also know that it wasn't going to be on the entire Uchiha clan, but instead it was going to be specifically targeted on Fugaku to have him use his authority as the clan leader to call off the coup, which we learn in the Itachi Shinen story of Midnight, which covers the events just before and after the Uchiha massacre. Sasuke's paranoia is on 10 right now, but it's funny how it would bring him one step closer towards earning the respect of each Kage, as well as finding his biggest piece of evidence about a threat beyond Kage in power, and why his fears about more Otsutsuki clan members being out there, being a collective threat, being strong enough that nobody on Konoha or in the ninja world could deal with, which this video on the screen is super in depth, breaking down their powers and abilities.